This is the biggest leap that the Apple Watch has had ever, and the most underrated launch that Apple has had in years. This is the brand new Apple Watch SE 3, and today we're obviously going to unbox it and test out all of its new features. Now look, here's the thing. The Apple Watch SE has always had the most essential features from the Apple Watch and has never had really advanced features. It's always been a great Apple Watch, an Apple Watch for beginners, but now with the Apple Watch SE 3, and by the way, take a look at that beautiful packaging. This Apple Watch SE 3 not only has the essential features that anybody needs on an Apple Watch, and advanced features that come straight from the Apple Watch Series 11 and the latest Ultra 3 at such a reduced price point. And it honestly makes it very hard for me to recommend a lot of people the Series 11 when the Apple Watch Series 3 comes at this very aggressive price tag. So the SE 3 obviously comes with the casing itself, and with the band. It comes with a bunch of gorgeous casings, different bands, from the braided loop, to the sport loop, to the sport band, to the sport loop. But you're here not to look about the packaging. Let's take a look at the Apple Watch band first. So this band right here is the Midnight 46mm Apple Watch band. So let's go ahead and unbox it first. And here it is. It is basically a very black Apple Watch band that I absolutely love. And here it is. It's the band that we're always used to coming with our Apple Watch. I honestly love the sport band. It's one of my favorite Apple Watch bands ever. It's just comfortable and to sleep track. It's honestly very comfortable. So this Apple Watch SE 3 in particular is the 44mm Midnight version that comes with the Midnight Apple Watch band. So you can see one of the weaknesses of the Apple Watch SE 3 compared to a Series 11 is the display size and the bezels, and we're going to be checking that out in just a second. But honestly, that's honestly one of its biggest weaknesses, and there's really not that many others. So let's open it up and let me show you everything that's new once again. I'm just very, very excited about the Apple Watch SE. Previously, honestly, I'd recommend the Apple Watch SE, especially for kids. And I feel like now for kids, it's even more powerful. But I feel like so many people, not only kids, there's a lot of people that the Apple Watch SE 3 will be their first ever Apple Watch, and they're gonna have such an incredible experience. So the Apple Watch SE 3 comes obviously with its charging USB-C cable to Apple Watch charging puck, and obviously the Apple Watch SE 3 itself. All right, so here's everything that's new with this thing. All right, so I've now set up the Apple Watch SE, and I wanted to show you all of its new incredible features. Now, first and most importantly, you've got the brand new S10 chip, which will basically make your Apple Watch run extremely fast. But not only that, it actually enables a bunch of new features because of the new chipset. For example, the most important one and the one that I'm most excited about is this right here. You finally have an always-on display on Apple Watch SE, which will basically allow your Apple Watch for the display to always be on. There are so many useful use cases on why an always-on display is so useful. Maybe you're typing something on your computer and you just want to glance at the time. Or maybe you're in a meeting and you don't want to be rude by literally doing this gesture just to look at your wrist. The always on display basically works on all watch faces, and you'll obviously be able to look at the time of the watch, which, as crazy as it sounds, the always on display is the best feature of the Apple Watch, because an Apple Watch can have so many features, but the most important one is obviously to tell you the time. And the always on display obviously makes that just so much better. It's a feature that we've always had with more expensive watches, including Series and Ultra, but it's finally come here in the SE. The S10 chip also allows for on-device Siri. So you'll be able to ask Siri for things like open workout. As you can see, Siri's opening the apps instantly. Before, with the S9 chip, for example, whenever you asked Siri something, Siri always had to go to the cloud, process that information, and then send it back to your device. But now Siri is built already on device, so things that it doesn't need the cloud, it will just do it inside of the Apple Watch. And that's the true power of the S10 chip. The S10 chip also brings new features like gestures coming to the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch Series 10 brought double tap for the first time to the Apple Watch. And as crazy as this sounds, the Apple Watch SE now brings double tap as well, thanks to that S10 chip. And it's not even this double tap feature. You've also got the flick gesture. So if you flick your Apple Watch, you'll be able to go back to your watch face, for example, from the home screen. If you're reading a notification, you can simply swipe it back just like that. Even if you're in Control Center, you can simply swipe up again, and you're back to the watch face. Gestures on Apple Watch is so useful, especially when you don't have a hand available to you. Maybe you've got a coffee in your hand, maybe you're walking your dog, maybe you're holding someone's hand. These gestures make the Apple Watch experience to a next level. The Apple Watch SE also brings a more durable glass. It's now got a tougher INX glass, which basically makes it up to 4 times more crack resistant than the previous Apple Watch SE, which is a big deal, especially when your Apple Watch will constantly be banged in walls. For example, whenever you're walking through your home, it's happened to me so many times where I've just banged my Apple Watch by accident, and you kind of do like this all over the wall. Having a more durable glass on an SE is something that I really wasn't expecting from Apple. Thanks to the new chipset as well, we get a brand new sleep tracking feature. Now, this new feature is called Sleep Score, and it's not only available on the SE. If you've got the previous generation Apple Watch SE, it should still work. Sleep Score basically helps you understand your sleep way much better in a 1 to 100 score. What it takes into consideration is the duration of your sleep, the bedtime, and the interruption. This is the analysis that Apple is giving me today. I've got a 95, so I guess I slept pretty well. The Apple Watch SE can also now detect sleep apnea. So the watch will notify you if it detects signs of moderate to severe sleep apnea. It uses the accelerometer on the watch and the interruptions in your breathing while you sleep to detect sleep apnea. And it does it all with this SE as well. SE also brings temperature sensing and ovulation estimates as well. So using the cycle tracking app, which I obviously don't have for obvious reasons, it will provide even more information to when you've ovulated. If you've got a cellular Apple Watch SE, you'll also now get 5G support, which not only will it give you better performance, but also better efficiency. Audio playback is also a new feature that was announced last year on Series 10. It's also now available on SE, which will allow you to basically play music directly from the speaker of the watch itself. You previously could only listen to music with AirPods, but as you can see, you can now do it through the speaker. Now, this new feature can be really handy in instances, for example, if someone's sending you a song, if someone's sending you a podcast, you're probably not going to listen all through the speaker itself. Or maybe you do want to listen to music directly from your watch. It's really up to you. It's really great that we do have that option now, though. Another Series 10 feature that's coming here is fast charging. SE3 now charges 2 times faster than SE2. And in addition, just 15 minutes of charge will give you 8 hours of battery life, which is perfect for a quick charge. Maybe you're getting in the shower, you're drinking coffee. In my experience with Series 10's fast charging, it really changed my Apple Watch experience for completely. Having better battery life on any device is always great, obviously, but I honestly prefer fast charging. It just charges your watch so quickly with such little time. It makes you want to sleep track. It makes you want to use your Apple Watch so much more because you're never scared on using all the battery. Also, if you do a lot of phone calls on Apple Watch, you now have voice isolation, which basically means if you're out in the street, the microphone of your watch will only pick up your voice, so you can sound clearer and more crisp, even in very loud environments and even with maybe very windy conditions. There's obviously so much more to go through on the Apple Watch SE. Now, why would anybody buy the Apple Watch Series 11 compared to the SE3? The Apple Watch Series 11 is obviously so much more expensive to this year's SE3. It's honestly a very difficult answer. I'm obviously going to talk about it in my full review, and I'm obviously going to compare both of these devices hand by hand. I honestly think the biggest weakness on the SE3 is just its big bezels. Now, in a watch face like this, you won't really notice it, but I feel like that the watch face really goes to the edges. You're gonna feel that it doesn't really go edge to edge. Obviously, the battery life and obviously all of the advanced health features, you won't get it on this guy. But honestly, for most people that this might be their first ever Apple Watch, it's such a good watch. And even the previous generation SE, if you're upgrading from that, it will also be such a good upgrade. It's Apple's probably best product in terms of value right now. You've got the budget iPad, which is amazing. SE3 and Mac Mini, in my opinion, are Apple's best value products right now. Here's the thing, if you want to learn more about the brand new Apple Watch Series 11, you can tap on this video right here. Or if you want to see what's new with Apple Watch Ultra 3, which is absolutely amazing as well, you can tap on that, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.